In today's active self-protection extra lesson, I have another amazing lesson for you from Gabe Y. Now, Gabe is using the bill drill here. We'll put a link in the description to what the bill drill is. It's a draw with 6 shots in an A zone as fast as you can get them. And Gabe talks here about the standards, what the times you want to hit are. And then he does some himself. But really what I want you to focus on here is how he teaches of going just as high as you possibly can. So I'm gonna let the wheels fall off a little bit here. I'm gonna expect some errors here. This is just a little faster than I can see. And then after you've done several reps of that, dialing it back down. This is what a guy like Scott Jedlinski, my shooting coach, would call Ricky Bobby versus getting all your hits. And sometimes you gotta go Ricky Bobby. You gotta get to a place where you recognize, here's how fast I can possibly go, and then back that into a place, this is how fast I can comfortably go and guarantee my hits. Great lesson from Gabe here. Gonna show you some examples of that as well. Hope you enjoy it and learn something. Today's video is brought to us by MagTech Ammunition. Whether I'm shooting rifle or pistol, if I'm on the range training, MagTech Ammunition is along for the ride.
The bill drill, the first of the 4 main technical blocks that we're going to use as dual use vehicles to drive technical performance and credible potential engagement sequences. So draw and shoot 6 to the A zone about as aggressively as you can put them in the A zone. That would probably be most similar to the non-standard response. Start here, you keep shooting here until they go away. It would be most similar to that. And this is going to be the first block where you're going to get the flavor of how these blocks work, because they're all going to work the same way, just different numbers of repetitions for different round count drills. But the failure to stop is going to work the same, so is immediate incapacitation and split bill drill tomorrow. So we're going to start with some amount of pushing practice. We're going to shoot and we're going to drive. We're going to push. We're going to attempt to reach and deepen our raw skill. You're working on shooting the way you would like to be able to shoot as opposed to the way you can currently shoot easily right now. So there's going to be errors. That's part of the deal. That's okay. What's critical is that you pay lots of attention with this and with this. Eyes and minds, so that you can see what is going wrong and mentally recognize it so you can work to immediately correct those errors. All the kinds of things you're going to notice through careful introspection. Shooting is a very subtle bundle of mental, physical, emotional processes. Errors, tiny errors of any of those can completely mess up the process. Oh, you're concerned about performance and you watch the bullet holes appear? Well, look what happens. Oh, you grip the gun just like a millimeter the wrong way. Now it doesn't move the same way in recoil, and now you got this stripe of shots going up to the shoulder and over the shoulder. Oh, you kind of horked the trigger on that one? Well, you know, and so on and on and on and on. And the introspection to identify those errors and work to correct them is really key to self-improve over time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot several repetitions of the bill drill, and I'm going to do it in all the ways that you're going to do it, just a miniaturized version with way fewer repetitions. I'm going to shoot a few runs pushing it, probably generate some errors, and speak aloud my introspection and correction to you. And then I'm going to shoot a couple runs trying to own it better, trying to shoot more accountably, shoot in a way that I can shoot as opposed to the way I'd like to be able to shoot the way I'd like to shoot on the test, which would be coming at some point after that, shoot the way I can own it to a greater degree. I'm not saying there can't be any error, but we should shore up the errors so they are a low rate of error at least. During the sequence of this, when you're doing it, if it is just going completely off the rails for you during the pushing it practice and you would like to shore it up and treat it more carefully sooner than I say to do it, you can do that. People need different proportions of this. I've got it set up a certain way with a certain set of proportions for pushing versus on-demand practice. But if you feel like you need to change that for yourself because the results are just garbage after garbage after garbage, okay, I would shore that up. But errors here and there, that's where it's at in recognizing what you're doing wrong so that you can seek to do it better. Okay, so let me go through a micro version of that practice progression. I'll start pushing, then I'll get a little more on demand, then I'll do 2 runs on the clock that don't count for score. And when it comes to the real test, then I'll do it with you and I'll go first. Okay, so a few runs pushing it, reaching, and talking through my errors. Well, that really wasn't so bad except for that was weird. That was almost like stopping the gun freeze. It was like trigger freeze, but I did it like right before I was pressing the trigger. So I had kind of a delayed first shot. Other than that, it felt pretty good, and I saw the sights bouncing up and down on the A zone, was decent on the trigger. So that was kind of okay. My first shot would have eaten it for a couple tenths anyway, though. Okay, again. Okay. Good shooting, good presentation. I felt pretty good about all that. My trigger finger felt just like really sluggish. I think I probably would have had quarter-second splits on that one. I just wasn't running. I don't have a real fast trigger finger in the first place, and I was kind of sluggish for me on that. So, okay, answer to that is, first of all, results were good enough that I'm only going to be able to reach a little bit from there, and that's where I'm really likely to engender some errors. But usually to go faster, you need more relaxation. Is what you ultimately need. Less tension, more relaxation. Okay, and that was, but then, you know, kind of got off the organized movement of the gun a little bit. Okay, let me shoot. So I got the 2 Charlies right now. Let me, that's enough pushing. I produced a couple of errors, talked my way through them. Let me shoot a couple of runs, trying to put it together with more consistency. Okay, really saw the sights hard on that one. My mind was right there. That felt pretty good. Probably would have been a turbo run if it were for score. Too bad it wasn't for score, but it wasn't. Okay, one more, trying to own it. What do I do when I pull a bad grip? I pulled a bad grip. It wasn't a very bad grip. It was that gun just a millimeter off from where it should have, it's home, where I wanted it to be. And so the gun sat differently, moved very slightly differently in recoil, and so I had to, I don't know what the clock would have said, but I had to exert just a little more care. I had to really bear down with my mind and eyes on the firing process and make sure that I was working the trigger smoothly, and frankly, salvaged probably would have been a perfectly decent run. Might not have been the best one, but it would have been pretty decent. This is the bill drill. For right now, you're pushing it, you're reaching, you're working on shooting the way you'd like to be able to shoot as opposed to the way that you can easily shoot right now. Up. You're still pushing it. We will get to the on-demand soon. Up. Now's the time to own it. Now's the time to shore up your skill, work on shooting in the manner that you can own it, the manner where you can shoot with a low rate of error, the way you'd like to shoot on the test, which is coming relatively soon. Now's the time to shoot the way you can shoot as opposed to the way you'd like to be able to shoot. That's what we worked on a few minutes ago. 6 repetitions of the bill drill. Up. You might be able to extend the hands faster, but that may also fall into the pushing it category.